It says we are live.
Oh, jolly good.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi, kids.
Hi there.
Happy Tuesday. We've got a fabulous guest today, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Phil Solem is best known as the co-founder or one half of the pop rock duo, the Rembrandts. True fans of his will call it Phil Solem and the Rembrandts, of course, if you know the inside scoop, and we'll get to that. Their hit single, I'll Be There For You, of course, became an iconic anthem of the 90s as the theme song to the Smash TV series Friends. A multi-talented musician, singer, and songwriter, Solem co-founded the Rembrandts with Danny Wilde in the early 90s after the two had collaborated in the short-lived power pop band Great Buildings in the 1980s. And then there was another one called I can't even spell it, Thrush, but we'll talk about that. Originally from Duluth, Minnesota, Phil was influenced by the British invasion, of course, weren't we all? Classic rock and power pop with a guitar-driven sensibility and sharp melodic instinct that would become his musical signature. His harmonies, intricate guitar work, and songwriting skill helped define the Rembrandts sound, a blend of jangly pop hooks, thoughtful lyrics, and tight arrangements. They're very tight.
Oh, very tight.
Beyond Friends, the Rembrandts enjoyed chart success with their 1990 debut, Just the Way It Is, Baby, which earned them international recognition and solidified their place in the pop rock landscape. Phil continued to evolve as a musician throughout the decades, pursuing solo projects and collaborations, including a band called the Roadrunners, which, if you ask Google, they think it's called the Rat Runners, but we'll talk about that too, whilst also maintaining a creative partnership with Wilde. Phil remains active in music today, touring and recording with the Rembrandts, who released an album called Via Satellite in 2019, an album that returned to their roots in melodic harmony-rich rock. His legacy continues through his songwriting, stage presence, and solo career, and he has a deep connection to one of television's most beloved theme songs. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Phil Solem. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Phil.
Hello,
Good
all of you.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
How is everybody doing? Good. Well, thanks for taking the time. I know you're up to your neck in studio stuff and preparing, but we just wanted to catch up with you, especially since we lost our dear mutual friend Joey Molland, and you've been on our mind, and we just haven't spent enough time together. So thanks for taking
So listen, what first drew you into music? What was your biggest influence growing up?
Well, it started out to be my dad, who is at the time, he's no longer with us, but he was a singer, played guitar, and he'd sing me to sleep every night when I was a little kid. He'd play me some cowboy tunes and, knock me out that way. And it just rubbed off on me. And then I started, watching things on television and picked up, I think the first thing that I thought, ooh, I want to do that, was I saw I Love Lucy back in the old days. And Ricky Ricardo would be like the band leader, and he'd grab a pair of bongos or some congas or something, and he'd start, jamming out. Yeah. And I would just be sitting, doing the same thing at home. And I thought, okay, I know I can keep up with this guy. And that's so I thought I was going to end up in his band at some point. And then it just kind of took off from there, and I absorbed all the kinds of music.
Wow, that's wild. Our friend John Vaughan, who is a wonderful musician from South Carolina, he's saying my music partner, who passed away, cellist Jerry Suchiak, always spoke very fondly, working with the Rembrandts.
Jerry was a highlight.
Yeah. So a cellist.
I'm so sorry about her.
Yeah. John Vaughan is mixing some of the work he made with Jerry today. So,
I need to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Send me a link.
I will connect you guys on email. Absolutely. So before forming the Rembrandts, you were part, as I said at the top, of Great Buildings. And I might also mention a side project. Did you pronounce it Thrush, or was it THRUSH, or the Rush without the E?
Yeah. That's a complex one. We've always been around, what do you do about a name like this? And that's got such a weird and probably too long for this podcast story that it may be like 4 or 5 episodes in that I might be able to really solve the whole thing, because it's multi-layered, like 10 bags of onions. But it's just Thrush, and that actually still exists, but it started after the Rembrandts, after we really started getting out into the world. Meanwhile, we're doing all this stuff, and I rarely got a chance to be at home. And when I was, a couple of my friends, Michael Bland, who was the drummer for Prince at the time, and John Fields, who was a producer, but I didn't really, I had just recently met him. This is back in like 93 or so. And these guys said, we really should start a band, because then we can, knock our steam off, because, I couldn't really rock out in the Rembrandts, and Michael couldn't, do his rock and roll stuff with Prince.
Sure.
Prince was very, very strict. Here's what you're playing. You're going to do that for an hour.
Yeah.
Go to their rehearsals and see this stuff. So it was like, anyway, we started this band, and we immediately made a record within one day. And it's just very like super raw, but it's pretty powerful. And then over the years, we just continued to do various other things, but nobody really knows about it. It's a secret.
Oh, well, it won't be now.
No. Secret for like 30 years.
Whoops, it's out the bag now.
I know.
You mentioned Michael, Prince's drummer. Obviously, you're from Duluth, Minnesota, and it was all happening at Paisley Park. So the Minnesota music scene professionally must have been a pretty tight one.
Well, from what I know of it, I mean, I went into the music scene there via California, because when I was a teenager, I moved out to LA from Duluth almost directly. We had a couple gigs. I had a band up there that I was in called Android. And at some point, my mom decided to move to Phoenix, and said, if you want to move out there with me, you can. And I thought, what else? I wanted to move to London, because all my favorite music was coming out of London. And but I just didn't get it together in time. And I followed her out to Arizona, and then found out within about a week that there's nowhere to play in Arizona. And this was 1975 or 6.
Gosh.
And I thought, who knows? It could be a fun time. So my buddies and I, guys who were in a band with me up in Duluth, moved out with me right after me. And we scoured the clubs, and every one of them said, well, you see that stage, that disco ball, that's going to be the whole, there's going to be a DJ.
Yep.
And that's what's happening. So let's go to California and see what happens.
Yeah, man. Head west, I-10. Let's go.
I know, just wham.
That's funny, because I would have assumed, with you being from Duluth, your first stop would have been Minneapolis, which is where, but that would have been before Prince was happening and all of that stuff. So
yeah, it was prior to that, but I had friends in Minneapolis. In fact, one of my earliest friends from those days, Des Dickerson, was he was like Prince's partner, basically. And I made friends with him before he joined Prince, because he would come up to Duluth with his band. He had one called Revolver. And he was, like rock and roll dude. He didn't wear a shirt, or he had like very he was very muscular, like Superman, and just like powerhouse, and
very
really like blown away, like, wow, he's doing the real thing in these little clubs.
Wow.
And we stayed friends over the years, but I moved away, didn't hear heads or tails from Des or anybody. But several years later, I ended up moving back to Minneapolis because, my girlfriend got pregnant, and then we decided we'll just do what she wants to do, because she's the boss, I guess. And she was from Minneapolis, and there we were. And the first day I got into town, I went to visit my my drummer friend from my high school band.
Wow.
Who was working as an agent at an agency for, booking agency in Minneapolis. And this is like the day I get there.
Wow.
My girlfriend at the time had spun off and was doing something else. And I took the car and went over to see my buddy Dave, first person I was going to see. So I go to the office, and who comes to the door but Des Dickerson?
Good God.
Like, what are you doing here?
Minneapolis's own Iggy Pop.
I guess, yeah. So yeah, it was just bizarre. So I got introduced into that camp like instantly. We ended up going over to visit all the other guys that were in Prince's band, except for Prince, and we all hung out. This is day one of being there, and so the music scene, that was my introduction to it. Was just like, get out of the car and boom, you're in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And,
But don't you think that's the universe pointing you in the right direction at the right time?
you hit the nail right on the head. That is exactly what it is. And I've never seen it in any other light. You know, these things just don't.
Meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you either let yourself believe that you're controlling something and set out to do it, or you just be like me and just goof off and go places.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's a great book by one of our author friends from Liverpool, David Bedford, and it's called What If? And it's the story of what if Ivan Vaughan hadn't introduced John Lennon to Paul, right? What if,
So an example.
What if they hadn't gone to the same school? What if they hadn't got off at the same bus stop? You know, there's just so many what ifs in life. And, you know, what if your girlfriend hadn't got pregnant and insisted on going back to Minneapolis?
Exactly. I mean, it was one of those bittersweet, you know, because I had to leave great buildings, which we were just immersed in our career at the time. We just had finished making our second record. And, you know, everyone was way down on me for making that decision, but that was exactly how it had to be. But we wouldn't have had our current future had it not been for that.
Right.
Event.
Where did the Rembrandts, or Phil Solem and the Rembrandts, where did that, you know, where does that fit in the picture? Did you form that out in LA, or was that back in Minneapolis? Or
it was after after I moved to Minneapolis, out of, you know, basically having to. Meanwhile, Danny Wilde, who was also in Great Buildings, you know, he wanted to keep the band going as Great Buildings. He got other guys,
Gotcha.
but our bass player at the time, Ian, decided, I'm out of here too. He wanted to move to New York,
okay,
where he still resides. And back to the point, though, was that, yeah, there was a period I went from being in a band that was very popular around LA and had just been really launched. You know, put out one record, had a single that I don't know what the chart number was, but it was doing pretty well. And, you know, made the next record in all the finest studios, John Boylan producing, if you know who he is.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Brilliant man. And it was all lined up for us to go. And then I was like, yeah, gotta go. Next thing you know, Danny's trying to carry on. Meanwhile, though, prior to him landing some deals for himself solo-wise, he asked me to come back out and let's try to, you know, just write a few songs and see what we can do. Well, we did that. And then really all the business that we sort of monkeyed around in ended up kind of thinking, why do we need two of these clowns? We'll take this guy over here. He's more serious. That would be Danny. And so he got the solo deals. And then I worked on one of those with him. But, you know, I guess after a few years of that, he got burned out of having to be like just a lone guy, you know, even though he had, you know, a support team, and he was on Island Records, and I think he was even on another big label that I'm brain farting the name. I seldom.
It was so funny, Phil. There were so many labels back in the day, and now they're like 5.
Yeah. I mean, it's all just, everything's been bought by somebody else, and they're all like under this umbrella of.
Yeah. There was you know, Casablanca and Neil and Don Arden and Jet Records, and, you know, oh God, there was just label after label. They were all under big distribution things, but there were really good boutique houses in those days who understood A&R, and they understood their artists. And I miss that today. It's all
it's the most crucial thing. You know,
I mean, it's like if there were only 5 types of fast food restaurants, you wouldn't have your artisanal Mexican or your Choctaw or your Indian, you'd have, McDonald's, Applebee's, this, that, it's the same that they're doing to music. It's just compressing it all into this, 3-minute MP3 format. And I really miss the singer-songwriters like such as yourself. That's why it's so great to have you on the show and talk about these names and these old days and these pros and people who made a living from their art,
A living, as it were.
I was just going to say, what kind of a living was it, though?
Absolutely.
On somebody's couch.
Yeah. So how?
No, those days were I'd say my earliest days of living in Burbank when I was still pre-21. There was a certain amount of couches, but me and the guys who were with me, we all lived in our cars.
Oh God!
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
You've done that too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
in London.
Wait a minute.
In London where it's
That's
freezing.
another story for another day.
Right by the Hammersmith Bridge. Right.
Episodes.
Oh yes, indeed. But before Ange gets to her next question about all of a sudden you're a cultural phenomenon, how did the whole obviously Just the Way It Is, Baby was the first notoriety, the first #1 hit for the Rembrandts. How did the whole introduction to Allie Willis and the theme song, how did that come about? Was it through a publisher or just hanging out with the crowd?
That was, the executive producer of Friends is Kevin Bright.
Yeah.
Happened to be a Rembrandts fan.
Oh.
And apparently the story goes, and I've heard this dissected so many ways, they intended on using REM as the
Good
sound. They wanted to have one of their actual songs. I think it was the one about life is over the way we know it. What is it? The title's not coming to me. You guys know this.
No,
title.
I am horrible with titles. I can sing all.
Idiot. You don't know that title.
No, I can't.
It's The End of the World as We Know It, I think is what it was.
The end of the
It takes
world.
me a minute. I have to digest everything myself.
Yeah, got it.
And anyway, so
that would have been a weird pick for Friends because they were just so happy-go-lucky, and that's such a depressing title.
and I could be wrong about the song. Maybe it was another of theirs, but that was the one that I've heard people bandy about. So to me, that's I'll just stick with that one for now. But apparently they did not want to get involved in television because, and at that time, nobody that was in the music business, nobody wanted to do that because it sort of, you know, it's like doing advertisements or.
It was a little bit. It was a little beneath one's dignity, was it not?
That is how it was presented to. I mean, maybe that was just we're too cool,
right?
Yeah.
But us guys.
Until cha-ching.
Well, here was the deal. Our manager said, "Well, Kevin Bright wants you guys to be the sound of this show, and so, what do you think?" And Danny and I, you know, we got the pilot episodes and we listened to it, and they sent us the rough tape of like the sort of skeleton of what the song would be kind of going towards. And it's like, why not? But how about we do this, but like not tell anybody it's us.
Oh, that's funny. So our friend Karen Reeder from Edinburgh, Scotland, who is an incredible researcher and does family trees of rock and roll people. He is just advised.
He knows the answer. There it is. Shiny, happy people.
Shiny, happy people.
Oh, Karen.
That makes more sense for Friends than the other one. But thank you, Karen.
But the current version of Friends should be, it's the end of the world as we know it.
No, it's
I know. Poor Matthew Perry.
It's called Fiends.
Yeah, Fiends.
Yeah. That well-known typo.
Friends.
Yeah.
But Karen's also saying it was used in a pilot episode, but then along came, who was the co-writers with Allie Willis of
it was Michael Skloff, who was the guy who writes all the music throughout the show.
Gotcha.
And he's a great musician and just knows where to, you know, how to create a vibe out of anything. And he had created the initial tune, played it on the piano, you know, except with his version of how it would be phrased. And then he sent that to Allie, and she started sending us, she lived in New York at the time, I believe.
Okay.
and we were out in Los Angeles, and at Stag Studio, I think is where we.
Stag Street, yeah.
You know that spot?
Yep, I do. So Allie didn't have the house in North Hollywood with the heart-shaped pool and the pink flamingos everywhere yet?
I think that was later,
Okay.
but I really didn't know her. I only met her once, and it was kind of in a weird circumstance, so we didn't really bond correctly. But here she was sending fax paper, or it was fax paper on our end. She would, type out her lyric ideas, trying to match phrases and stuff. And then we'd see the fax paper and go, okay, I guess that's what we're singing. And we tried it. We ran through some stuff, and I had to,
right.
I don't know if anybody knows this or cares, but I ended up having to try to make it sound like the phrasing was being done by humans and not a piano, because the way when you write notes down or whatever, it doesn't have the
breath.
You got to put some jazz in there.
Yeah.
And I feel I injected a certain amount of phraseology into the equation, and nobody complained. So it's like, all right, let's do it like that.
Yeah.
And then we, fixed a few little potential
glitches. Yeah.
Words that were like, there were just various things that could be a little bit more.
Toiter. Yeah.
Toiter is what I'm looking for. So tighten it up, yeah. And just slammed it out. We slammed it out, and I must say we had every time we do another take, we have another round. It's like it's getting better, boys. And then after like 4 or 5 takes, it's like I think we got it. And then it was time to go in and do the vocals. And by that time, we were spinning like tops.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, we did the takes, but then it's like, how about we come back tomorrow? Early evening and redo those vocals.
The artist insecurity, imposter syndrome at work. Yeah.
I don't know that it was that. I think it was just strictly like brown liquor.
Those were the days.
At the time,
so it became
whiskey cokes.
Phenomenon, didn't it? Thanks to friends. Did you ever anticipate that level of success at that stage?
No, but it was almost like we. What's that, Ruth?
Did you ever anticipate that level, knowing it was going into TV? But I suppose it was, early on, right?
Yeah.
That's the twist in the story.
Yeah.
Maybe I've given too much detail to like the creation of the thing, but when it was released, our manager had told us, as far as his advice was concerned, you guys probably shouldn't do this, because of the fact we said, well, what if it's secret? Just make sure they don't put our name on there. And the thing is, once the show came out, it blew up. We didn't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it was a great show, but I mean,
not that great.
You just really don't. You never know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, everybody wanted to know what the music was all about.
Well, I remember asking though, because I fell in love with everything, with all of it. The production, the song, and Karen in Scotland saying it was it was a perfect 3 minutes of pop, and it landed in the UK with a bang. Britpop was at its peak. Oasis and many other bands were doing Beatles influenced music, and it was perfect timing, which I agree with him. And I couldn't find out because we didn't have Google or ChatGPT. I was tearing my hair out trying to find out who the artist was for weeks.
So you went through a bald spell.
I did. It's grown back though. It's all right. But yeah, I mean, it was. So at what point did you sit with management and go, I think it's time to claim this as ours?
Well, that brings up another crazy story. Once it hit, our record company made a big deal about how if we didn't make that into a full song and put it on our record that we had just finished, it was a giant production. Took a long time to get it all together. Well, they had already printed up the jackets. They, came out. It was all set to go. They sent out like 100,000 just to try it out.
Mhm.
And they had to recall them all because the president of the label, who was new to the label, this was our third album, and our original, the singer from Gentle Giant was our original record company president,
Oh, wow.
Eric Schulman. He was like,
know
you guys just do what you do, don't let anybody tell you to change. But then the company, it was a big shakedown, Atlantic was like, okay, we're taking, because we were on Atco.
Right.
And they were like, okay, Atco's going to get melded into this other thing, and they're calling it East West Records.
Yep. I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Probably seen, the magnitude of what that was in comparison to, Atco was a great label, but it was very artists.
Yeah, artist driven. Well, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's wild.
okay, what is my point? This is
No,
my
so you've got 200,000 or 100,000 copies out there. You have to recall them. At what point did you and Danny or were you pushed or not pushed by management to say, okay, it's us, we'll claim it, we'll take the credit or we'll take the blame, or whichever way you looked at it? I mean, at what point did you just say, yeah, we own it, we love it?
Well, it's twisted right there as well, because on the way to having that interaction, there was some sneaky stuff being going on in the radio world, because all the radio stations were getting calls saying, hey, why aren't we hearing that song on the radio? And that's when, of course, the buzzers went off at Atco, or what turned into be East West. It's like, you guys are going to put out an album and that song's not going to be on it?
Duh.
And so, yeah, because here it was one of the censures. There's a guy, and I wish I could remember his name. He's a DJ, and of all places, he was in Nashville. Mm-hmm. And you'd think that his name would be embroiled in my mind, but somehow it's not. Maybe it's like a.
We'll get you a tattoo when we figure it out.
Hopefully, it's just a lick and press tattoo, because nobody comes at me with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this guy, he recorded it off his television. It's a 42-second long thing, and then he looped it like 3 times to make it a 3-minute song. Yeah. Wow. And so he was able to satisfy his callers, but they were just getting, a repeat.
Right.
And then he shared that with other DJs. Next thing you know, it's like, we can't have these being played like this. So,
like verse chorus, right?
Yeah. And in fact, to this day, I still haven't heard what his looped version is like. I can only imagine.
Wow. But that proves the popularity of the song, right? Because people are phoning into radio stations, they want to hear it, and then through ingenuity, this guy tapes it and loops it. That's a fantastic story. We are spilling the tea here, kids, today. Spilling the Mrs. McCartneys.
Right.
Karen's saying people in the UK thought it was a Liverpool band called the Lars for a while. The speculation was.
Oh yeah, I love that band. That's one of my favorite bands ever.
Yeah.
Compared to them, wow, that's fantastic.
Well, apparently that's who people
goes. It's one of the best songs ever written.
Yeah. I haven't played the Lars in my world for quite a long time. I should pull up a playlist. But yeah, no, it's it obviously was a life changer for you, as was moving to Minneapolis. So you were in the universal path of here we go again.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, we're talking about it now in 2025. How do you feel about the song's legacy today? Has your relationship with that song and that experience changed over time?
It has. It's had its roller coaster ride version, but I think ultimately both Danny and myself are pretty, we feel very grateful for being involved like that. Because at first it was like, oh, don't you dare get in there and mess with television. And then here's the biggest censure of all. Once it became universally known that we were the ones who did that, all of our peers, I wouldn't say all, but a great number of them kind of gave us the old, yeah, you guys cheated, you know, you have to live with that. Next thing you know, some of these same peers ended up right in a television show. So
Yeah, how do I get me some of that? Right?
so, yeah, I feel like we were sort of like the test pilot monkeys or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did the success of Friends ever overshadow you? Over you? You know, how did you navigate it as artists?
Basically, it's like a big lead blanket. And you just have to keep like trying
Yeah.
to get over the edge, you know.
Yeah.
Did you feel like it overshadowed your other work in songwriting?
Well, absolutely, yeah. But in maybe it's the kind of shadow that it can appear behind you or in front of you, and you know, it's multi-lighting.
Yeah, and here we are today, and it's still in rotation, isn't it?
There's no escape.
No,
Right.
well, it doesn't want to be. But
So obviously that was an Ellie and Mike song, but back to you solo or you and or Danny. This is something I always ask songwriters. What's your typical process? Is it music first, lyrics later, the other way around? Does it change? Does it all come at once?
It's all of the above.
Interesting.
It's all situational, you know. And by the way, the Friends theme, we are co-composers on that song.
Yeah.
A lot of people go around saying, well, the Rembrandts wrote that song, and then somebody else will say, no, they didn't. But it's like we were all in the same room. I know I did all my, pulled the tricks out of my hat to give it what I did. And they, you don't get those out of just any old monkey's hat.
No.
So, but when you're writing, newer Phil Solem stuff, what do you find? Is there a greater influence when you're quiet and in solitude and ignoring the news and everything switched off, or are you inspired by the daily goings on of this crazy planet?
Number two, I'll take door number two.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially, well, I've always been that way, but we're going through some pretty severe traffic jams here in the world. And I just on a daily basis write my feelings. And so I have, 80 million things to choose from. And every once in a while I get bent out of shape enough to start jamming it out. And if I have some lyrics in front of me and an instrument in my hand, I can, sort of make a commentary, musically speaking. And that to me is how that's how I form songs, at least mostly lately.
I'm only lyrics. I'm not really a great player of anything. I can, listen musically, and I am stimulated by injustice and equality and all of the things in the world that empathy and things that I wish I could fix. And I think, but then there are some poets or some writers that they need to be super introspective and still and quiet and go inside and come out with I've looked at Clouds from Both Sides by Joni Mitchell,
And now it's looked at clowns from both sides now.
Right. Hello.
Where's Joni? I want her mashup version.
And they're on both sides, trust me.
Yeah.
That's right.
No politics now.
That's right. No. That's absolutely right. No,
the Joni Mitchell brothers.
There you go.
I mean, that's an inside joke, but hey.
Yeah.
So since obviously that was the early 90s.
Yeah. How has your approach to music changed since the early 90s? Both creatively and professionally?
Or has it?
Or has it at all?
I would say, well, that's quite a span of time. I used to be very, forthright in my wanting to be doing music biz type stuff until we actually got into the thick of it, which of course it just, it peels all your scales off and leaves you raw. And I kind of burned out on it. So the touring part doesn't appeal to me anymore.
Right.
And, but yeah, I mean, even back then I felt I was being, subjected to a lot of kind of negative things because it's just nonstop. Once you reach that plateau, nobody backs down. and it's definitely 8 days a week.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, and then you maybe get a day off, and then you go right back another 8 days.
Right. I
And
mean,
it's
yeah,
physically, challenging.
everybody wants a piece of you. It's like being an athlete with, extra credit for playing guitar, singing, and writing music, right?
Simultaneously. I just remember there was one moment Danny and I were just on some kind of promo tour, and we were just exhausted. And we were in Germany, and this guy was letting us out the door, but he was like one of the press people, and he says he sees us being just bedraggled and grouchy, and he says, "I'm so sorry for your success."
Oh, nicely put.
We were, funnily enough, we were out. Z Germans are, I know I can say that because I'm married to one. My second one.
Hey, watch yourself.
Martin.
He says, "Hey, Martin." The Z Germans are blessed with, the what is it? The art of brevity. We had a dinner with there was this German billionaire guy who was going to come in here and open a bunch of restaurants and what have you. And he came over to our humble little beach town of Playa del Rey, and we all went to the local cheap Thai restaurant. And he was staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel, of course. And he'd left his car here because he'd had too many drinks, and we called him a cab. And as he jumped in the cab, and he said, well, auf Wiedersehen, off I go back to the prison of the rich. He called Beverly Hills the prison of the rich.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry for your success. It's the same exact thing. They could be a little salty, Z Germans. That's wonderful.
There you have it.
Karen, he's asking Phil. I ask everyone, whilst in Europe, did you ever get to Scotland? And if not, you did. Where'd you go in Scotland?
Yeah. We went to all the highfalutin, awesome spots. My favorite, and I wish I had more memories of this without having to get in my garage and pull boxes out and try to look through the documents or whatever. But there was a greenhouse that we did some sort of video production thing in for a TV show, and it was beautiful. Scotland is so gorgeous, it's just stupid. You almost can't. It's like a fantasy. It's almost like AI fantasy world.
Yeah,
wouldn't you say?
The New Zealand of the North.
Yeah,
absolutely.
With a whole other vibe going on.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. And
the monster's completely different.
Yeah, better whiskey. Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So obviously, we've talked about the Rembrandts. You've done a lot of solo work as well. And I was looking at your Phil Solem official Facebook page, and these fabulous new, obviously AI generated images, and on your Bandcamp and SoundCloud and Spotify and stuff. Talk a little bit about your latest project, where people can find it.
Well, it's been sort of dwindling, and it's gaining traction. No, it's not. I'm a terrible businessman, I must say, right off.
Most artists are.
I think it's probably part of the, why we are how we are. But I can't seem to promote myself properly, and people who claim to want to do that don't necessarily come through with what they claim. And so I basically sit there and just keep creating stuff. But the artwork you're referring to is based on a song that I put in the system there 3 months ago called Anyway, and it's about AI. And I thought I better put this out before it becomes redundant to even talk about this subject, because it's going to go so far that nobody's going to care anymore or even be aware of it. It's just going to wipe our sensibilities completely off the map. So that song, I put it out. I intended to make a video about it, but I lost all my whatever I had going on, which was anything that I could get my hands on. But it's too late. Nonetheless, the song's out there, and you might find it interesting if you're.
I loved it. I mean, just Anyway, by Solem, and it's on the digital platforms. And where would you say you're most active on Facebook, on your website, on a website, on Instagram?
You mean where am I most inactive?
Well, where do you like? Where do you like to be? We're all forced to engage with social media. It's just the way of the world. It sucks balls, but it is what it is.
It does. Some serious balls. But yeah, I mean, Facebook is just easy.
Yeah.
I guess I appear on there occasionally. I try to stay away from all of it. You know, it's sort of toxic to me in a way.
Noise. It's just a lot of.
Some of it is important noise, though. You know, I feel like, but I don't know if I should get in line with the important noise, because then I'll be under the, you know, I'll be a suspect.
Yeah, no, I watched a fascinating podcast called The Diary of a CEO. It's an English kid. He's great. And he had Mr. Wonderful on, who just described noise or described business life as noise and signal. Signal is when you're creating and producing and putting stuff out and doing things. And the rest of it's just noise. And, you know, I can't decide. Yeah, I can't decide whether social media is a combination of both or if it's just turning into noise.
Well, it's almost like you have to use your, you know, better senses as a tuner to like tune into the things that aren't noise, because for everything that happens, another thing happens in reverse, and it's just a constant flopping around of like who's saying what, and it's dividing us so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this crazy Coldplay kiss cam thing.
What is up with that? I just saw that and I don't know what it is.
Okay, so the head of a president of a company took his HR director. They're both happily married. Took her out in public to a Coldplay concert and was hugging and smooching with her, and they put the kiss cam on them, and they ducked immediately. And Chris Martin said, "Uh-oh, they're either very shy or they're having an affair." Well, they both stepped down. They both lost their jobs. Kristen Cabot, the woman, is married to Boston's richest family, the Cabot family, who own the big rum company up there, Pirate Rum or whatever it's called.
Sebastian Cabot?
Cabot, yes, right. And so she's now, you know, lost her job. I don't know what's going to happen to her marriage, but her husband is probably not very happy, and the family's worth $250 billion. So, you know, they're going to have good lawyers on this.
That's a bit of a
but there've been memes, and now there's, you know, so the whole idea behind it is couples who shouldn't have been caught together. So people have done AI with Donald and Hillary, with Chris Rock and Will Smith, and it's just gone mental. And the girl that filmed it on her cell phone, because everyone was facing forward looking at Chris Martin, and the Jumbotron was behind her. She was lucky enough to film it. She knows about a company called Storyful.com out of Canada. And if you upload Storyful, if you catch something that's newsworthy, you upload it and they license it with you 50-50 to all of the So every time you see that kiss cam thing, it belongs to this woman who filmed it. Storyful is the partnering agent. She's made $300,000 since last weekend.
Holy crap. Well, that's all I saw was the picture.
Yeah.
No,
just because today I checked in to see if you were.
No, she was home that night.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Promise.
No, I didn't think it was. I mean, that was the reason I even went to Facebook, but that was the first thing that showed up, and it was like, I don't even understand what this is.
Yeah, these couple got caught together when they shouldn't have. He's got flat feet. He's had his feet in the wrong flat. So, but that again, you know, it's such a huge boost for Coldplay and Chris Martin, but it's a complete disaster in these two people and their poor children's lives. Is it noise or is it signal? You know, this is the damage that social media can do, and you don't. And Sammy, who runs all of Edgar Winter's digital stuff out of Atlanta, she's saying in her humble opinion, it's noise. I kind of tend to fall on the side of noise, unless I'm Chris Martin's agent, you know.
Oh yeah,
because everybody's downloading Coldplay this week. They're back on
the a Coldplay, I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, nicely done. You see, that's why you're in charge of the words. that is fabulous.
I'll be waiting for the check to come in on that one.
Okay. Yeah. Now, looking back on your career, what advice would you give your younger self, or to any young musician starting out today?
Wow. You know, I've been asked that question at various stages of my life,
Mm.
and I don't know if I have any advice because everything changes so radically. It's really hard to give advice. And anytime I have given it, I've almost felt like
Oops.
maybe I should go and get back to that person and say, hey, whatever I said, don't listen to me. You know, follow whatever it is that makes you tick, you know, because everybody's got their sort of own version of where they're going and why and how and all the stuff. And for me to, you know, give you some sort of here's a map, but pay no attention to that X on there.
All right.
You know,
Yeah.
find your own treasure.
Just go with your guts, in other words.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
If
think
you have them.
talking to you, I mean, I think just spiritually, as long as it is not an obviously ridiculous decision that is going to end in death, destruction, or prison time, just let the universe follow your gut, follow your instincts, and let the universe be your driver sometimes.
That's what I do.
Mm.
Yeah, we've done it our whole lives, and we're both still here. And by the way, I can announce, spilling some more tea from our side, that according to ChatGPT's certification, you have been co-hosted today by the world's oldest podcaster. Ta-da!
What? I'm famous at last.
You've always been famous.
She's
Or
Are you
infamous.
gonna be in the Book of World Records now?
well, yeah, they charge you $50,000 to get one of those, so I don't think we'll be doing that.
Can you get on a payment schedule?
Yeah, maybe. So she is amongst the 0.0004% of the global population who is using any kind of generative AI, and 95% of those are using it with the aid of a caregiver or a nurse or a family member.
I'm not having one of them.
And only one of those has a weekly podcast.
Right on, Angie.
Oh, rock on, baby.
One of these. Where's
Yeah.
the high five box?
High five,
There
yeah.
you go.
I'm the oldest member of the hit parade.
It's something in that Scouse.
Fantastic. Well, I'm proud to be on your show. Let me tell
Oh,
you.
It's
I
great
reckon
having
you
you.
should be.
So the last time, before we wrap up and tell people where to find your wonderful music and stuff, the last time we were all together was in a fabulous Irish bar in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with Mary Joyce and the lovely dear departed Joey Molland.
I miss Joey like you would not believe.
No, he was a
We were
sweetheart.
like yin and yang. No, we were pretty much both yang.
Yeah, that is what I mean. How did you meet Joey? I mean, was Badfinger fans of the Rembrandts, or how did that all come about?
No, but it's very weird. That's another kind of weird long story. I don't know even where the beginning is, but the time we really first bonded, we were jamming on stage at a party, and the two of us were soloing back and forth on guitars. And you know, I'd do a thing, and then Joey would do a thing, and he'd give me the look, and then you know, we just had this magical. I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it because it was just so intense. And after that, you know, we just saw each other around every once in a while, and eventually we ended up doing another one of those parties. And the guy who put it together said, "You guys should be a duo," you know. So we learned a bunch of mutual songs. We did a couple of our own songs, and then we did some Everly Brothers tunes, and we did things like that. And you know, we'd harmonize and go back and forth, and it was just so cool. And we're both like super short guys, so we looked exactly the right size on stage, you know.
Didn't have to stand one of you on a phone book.
Yeah, it was like we could wear heels and everything, and we'd still be the same size.
That's great. No, I know he loved you like a brother. When we had him on TeaFlix a couple of years ago, we did, you know, the pre-prep interview with you, and we were talking fondly about that night that all of us and Martin, we had great fish and chips in downtown Minneapolis, and what a night that was. It was fabulous.
What a beginning, and we're still carrying it on.
Joey was so talented and just a ray of sunshine. I mean, there wasn't somebody in any situation he could make the best of it and cheer anybody up. He was
he was an angel.
Yeah.
Still is.
Scouse Sunshine. Yeah, Peter Gorman saying, I miss Joey and Pete and Tom and Mike and John and George. All of them.
Et cetera. It's insane.
And sadly, I have to also announce, in case anybody didn't know, that we've Ozzy Osbourne has gone to the great gig in the sky today.
He did not.
Yeah.
He has just checked out.
Just before we came on air.
I know. So let's. My glass is empty, but
moment for Oz.
here you go, Ozzy. I know. There was only one Ozzy, but go Sharon.
Sharon.
I mean, 2 weekends ago.
They had, that show recently.
Yeah, Aston Villa. 3 weekends ago, he was on stage with, Geezer Butler and Tony Iommi and the whole crew, and he did a fantastic live show, and he went out on top. He lived until he didn't. It was exactly how Ozzy would have wanted it.
Exactly, yeah.
Because he was a cantankerous old git. I used to work for him. I used to work for Sharon's dad. I was a receptionist at Jet Records on Sunset. Knew Ozzy well.
What year would this be?
83, 84.
Oh, okay. I was going to say my daughter worked for Sharon at some point, but she was born in 82, so that didn't really work out.
Oh, no, that must have been much later. Yeah, no, I worked for Donna Arden, her late dad, and Meredith and Sharon and all of them. So sending big love across the pond to all of the Sabbath fans and all of the Aussie people. But, rock and roll is forever.
Yeah.
We come, we go, but this is what's so important about what you do for a living, because it makes the world a better place. I think.
Well, sometimes you look at music as, every generation comes up another few steps, and then they look back and they call the old music the dinosaurs. Yeah. The dinosaurs are what's powering all the stuff.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. So you're not obviously a regular viewer because you are a VIP guest, but Ange has a book out called Mrs. McCartney's Liverpool Limericks and Other Random Irish Haikus. And so she is quite the poet. And so if you're sitting comfortably, we would like to read you your honorary McCartney limerick. Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay, let me get my ballast.
Okay.
Yes.
Tighten your tie up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll let you pick the tempo. You count it in.
The 1, 2, 3.
Phil Solem can craft quite a tune with hits that will make your heart swoon. From friends' famed refrain to guitar lines that rain, his melodies light up the room. Ta-da!
I love you girls.
We love
Thank
you
you
too.
very
It's
much,
lovely
Phil.
spending time with you.
Yeah.
If you get out to LA, check us out. And I'm going to send you, actually, we've got a couple of great friends in Nashville, if I haven't sent you already. One is
Meanwhile, you girls you should be coming up to Nashville now.
I know, we should, huh? We got
Take the
lots
tunnel.
Yeah, we should. We will take the time off and come to we lived in Nashville for 3 years. We lived out in Duluth. I know. What part of town do you live? Probably Franklin.
Madison.
Oh, okay. That's
the
nice.
original home of country music.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. That's right. Fabulous. And AM radio and all that good stuff.
All of it, yeah. Right here.
All right. Sweet. Well, thanks so much for taking time.
Thanks for having me again.
Phil
Angie,
Solem.
congrats on your
Being
number one.
Being an old fart.
Being an old fart, yes.
Well, you're the youngest old fart I've ever known.
I'm working on it.
And on that happy note.
Young fart. That doesn't sound so good, though.
No. Young fart. No, I didn't. Okay. All right, kids. We will see you all of a sudden. Thanks for joining us today. And
very much.
We will see you all of a sudden. Take care, kids.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.